The New York Jets have a brand new head coach, and his name is Aaron Glenn. He's the former defensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions over the last 4 years. I will say this about Aaron Glenn. This is a good hire. I like Aaron Glenn a lot. He's a very good defensive mind, and the work that he was able to do this year was phenomenal because you look at all the pieces on that defense that were out. No Aiden Hutchinson, no Malcolm Rodriguez. Alex was able to come back towards the end of the season, and he played in the NFL playoffs, and your secondary was also decimated. They had injuries everywhere on this defense, and yet Aaron Glenn balled out. They had one of the best red zone defenses, and he found a way to scheme up pressure, and he did blitz a lot more, but did not compromise their secondary that much on the back end. We could talk about the fact how they just lost to the Washington Commanders. Jared Goff had 3 turnovers in that matchup, and one of the touchdowns were a pick 6. And it seems like no one right now can stop Jaden Daniels. The defense performed very well underneath Aaron Glenn, and they got better every single year. And we saw that red zone defense have great games against the Green Bay Packers, not once, but twice this year, and against the Minnesota Vikings, not once, but twice this year. He did a phenomenal job against Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson. Now, with all that being said, even though I love this hire, I said the same things about Robert Saleh. I was hyped up when Robert Saleh got the head coaching job with the New York Jets, but it didn't work out. Now, all the reports that have come out, Aaron Glenn, he wants to keep Aaron Rodgers. That has been said through a lot of journalists that he wants to keep Aaron Rodgers, and I believe that. And the reason why, there's no other quarterback out there for the New York Jets to get unless you want to spin things around and bring back Sam Darnold, who you drafted in 2018. That experiment did not work out. He was not a good quarterback with the New York Jets because the coaching was so terrible with Adam Gase. Then you had Todd Bowles mixed in there also. So it did not work out, and they traded him away to the Carolina Panthers in favor for Zach Wilson. And that is the move that cost Robert Saleh his job, and the same with Joe Douglas. They missed on the quarterback position. If Zach Wilson was to work out, Aaron Rodgers would have not been on this roster. They would have never made the trade to bring in Aaron Rodgers. The fact that Joe Douglas missed on Zach Wilson, that cost him his job. And Woody Johnson was not a huge fan of Zach Wilson after that first season. After his rookie year, he wanted to move off of Zach Wilson. But you were stuck with him. He was still in his rookie deal, and hopefully you put more pieces around him, he would have played better. But that was not the case. Now, I'm going to compare the New York Jets to the Chicago Bears here. I said the Chicago Bears, you had Mitch Trubisky, Justin Fields, Caleb Williams. At a certain point, you had to look at your organization and say, okay, what's going on? You have Geno Smith. That didn't work out, and he was a journeyman in this league. He's finding success with the Seahawks, and I'm not saying that he's a top 5 quarterback in this league because he's not. I look at Sam Darnold in the right situation. He was a top quarterback in this league this season. I look at Zach Wilson. Is it a chance that he could find success outside of the New York area? Possibly. The Jets have to go out there and bring in the right offensive coaching, for one. Even though I like Robert Saleh, and I felt like what Woody Johnson did was wrong because after that Minnesota Vikings game, you fire Robert Saleh, and he was not the reason why you lost that game. The defense held up. Aaron Rodgers threw a pick 6 in that matchup and 2 other interceptions that was just terrible. Threw 3 interceptions, and you lost that game by 6 points. Robert Saleh did not get fired because his defenses were bad, and he's a defensive head coach. The reason why he got fired, the Zach Wilson decision, yes, bad coordinator over and over again on the offensive side. You had Coach LaFleur come in and coach up Zach Wilson. He was a terrible offensive coordinator. Then you go out there, you bring in Nathaniel Hackett. Now, you guys know how I feel about Nathaniel Hackett. He was a terrible coach with the Denver Broncos as a head coach and as an offensive play caller. You guys listen to the channel all the time. If you've been subscribed for the last couple of years, you guys know I believe in second chances. But when I look at Nathaniel Hackett, what has he done of note without Aaron Rodgers? So you bring him back over to the New York Jets. As a consultant, that could work. As a play caller, downright terrible. He should have never been hired in the first place. But Robert Saleh and the New York Jets, they were catering to Aaron Rodgers at the time. It got so bad, they relieved him of his duties, but they fired Robert Saleh and they let Todd Downing come in and call plays. If you're a Tennessee Titans fan, you know that Todd Downing is one of the worst offensive play callers in Titans history. He was terrible with the New York Jets. Now, he was a better play caller than Nathaniel Hackett, which isn't saying much. Aaron Glenn is coming over from the Detroit Lions. Bring over the quarterbacks coach, bring over the running backs coach, let them be the offensive coordinator if you can. It's a good chance that the quarterbacks coach may just stay to become the offensive coordinator with the Lions. We will see. But he has to get the offense down. I'm not worried about the defense with the Jets. Aaron Glenn, he's going to figure that out on day one. They're going to have a top defense in this league over the next 3 to 4 years of his contract with the pieces that they have. The problem is his offense. And you have so many aging pieces on this offense mixed in with some young guys. You have Garrett Wilson, who was a top wide receiver. When you can get him the football, when he has his head on straight, when he's not dropping the football, he's a talented wide receiver. Look at that amazing catch that he had against the Houston Texans Thursday Night Football. Then you have Breece Hall. There's still something here with Breece Hall. Even though he had a bad year this year, he's a very good running back. The problem is this offensive line is terrible. They need to continue to put more money and more talent in this offensive line. Go into the NFL draft you some more offensive linemen. You're not going to draft a quarterback in the first round. Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward, more than likely, they're both going to be gone at that point in time when it's time for the New York Jets to select. So go with an offensive lineman. You drafted Olu Fashanu in this year's draft class. The potential is there, but you had the kid playing the guard position. Put him at the tackle position. Let him develop. And it's going to take some time. It usually takes some offensive linemen 2 to 3 years to fully develop in this league. The problem is this. The New York Jets, they don't have 2 to 3 years to wait on Aaron Rodgers because he may be out of the league at that point. You still want to contend in this division, especially with the defensive pieces that you have. So you build this offensive line. I understand they brought in Tyron Smith. That's a bad signing. Solid veteran. He can't stay healthy. Your best ability is availability. This is a man that has been able to stay healthy in 8 seasons right now. And you have Morgan Moses. Morgan Moses is not a terrible tackle. He's a solid veteran to have around. The problem is this with Morgan Moses. He missed time this season also. So bring in another guard, bring in another tackle, put alongside Fashanu and build for the future. And I'm not saying move off of Tyron Smith, move off of Morgan Moses. You can do that to save money, but just go out there and build this offensive line. You have Aaron Rodgers on the books. You might as well just keep him for one more season and then figure out that quarterback position later in the offseason. Draft your quarterback in the 3rd or 4th round and just hope that he can sit behind Aaron Rodgers and he can learn. I can say a lot of bad things about Aaron Rodgers. How he treats the media, how he's just nonchalant in certain times, and how he comes off. But he was very welcoming to Jordan Love because he was in that situation before. And I feel like the season that they just had was such a bad season that Aaron Rodgers is going to want to come back next year and show everyone that he still has a lot of gas left in the tank. Now, he will never be the same quarterback that he once was with the Green Bay Packers. The Aaron Rodgers moving outside the pocket, rolling out, throwing off the back foot, those days are gone because of that Achilles injury that he suffered in year 1 with the Jets. But there is still a talented quarterback here. And I understand that Buffalo Bills lost. He didn't score at all. He essentially took himself out of the game. They were underneath terrible coaching with Coach Brick. He was not ready to be a head coach. Too much too soon. They made him the interim head coach. And this is where I blame Woody Johnson the most. If you didn't have the faith in Robert Saleh, why bring him back for the season we just moved off of? Why not just come in with a clean slate? He was done with Robert Saleh, it seems like. So you go out there and you fire the man after the Minnesota Vikings game. And now you leave your players out to dry. Sauce Gardner had a very close connection with Robert Saleh. The same with DJ Reed, Quinn Williams, and Quincy Williams. And they were shocked because Woody Johnson did not discuss this decision with anyone. He came out and said, hey, it's my team. I'm going to do what I want. I'm done with Robert Saleh. If that's how he wants to run this organization moving forward, Aaron Glenn will always be handcuffed. And the same with the brand new general manager. In order for the Jets to fully work, they need to bring in a brand new culture. And when you look at Aaron Glenn, he's a former player in this league. The first 8 seasons of his career were with the New York Jets, who drafted him in the 1st round. He's a former all-pro defensive back. So I already know what the players are going to look like on this defense. Sauce Gardner matched up with him. He's going to go back to being one of the top-tier corners in this league because this season, it was a bit of a drop-off because they dealt with so many penalties on the defensive side of the ball. And it starts with him. It's time for him to step up and be a leader with the New York Jets. This kid is special. Yes, he's young, but he can be a captain with this defense. That is how special of a cornerback he is. DJ Reed, bring him back. He's scheduled to be a free agent. Running back with him. He's a very good number 2 cornerback alongside Sauce Gardner. And you have Michael Carter II. You have 3 very good defensive backs. Now, I can see Aaron Glenn going out there and saying, you know what? Let one of these guys walk, except for Sauce Gardner. We can bring someone else in. I can coach him up. But this trio, they're very good. The reason why the New York Jets defenses over the last few years haven't gotten that credit is because their offense has been so bad underneath Zach Wilson, and also the same with Aaron Rodgers. And that comes down to Aaron Glenn. Now, Woody Johnson doesn't have the say-so over who Aaron Glenn brings in at the offensive coordinating position. That's all on Aaron Glenn. And if this defense comes out and they're a top-tier unit and they have a bottom of the league in the offense, that's a bad look. The same thing happened with Robert Saleh will happen here with Aaron Glenn. But Woody Johnson, he has to give these guys more help. He has to go out there. He has to be more level-headed. All the reports that came out when Joe Douglas got fired, he's taking advice from his sons. He's taking advice from video games. He basically removed the trade before it even happened with Joe Douglas wanting to bring in Jerry Jeudy because his Madden rating was not high enough. If all those reports are true, the New York Jets will never win anything with Woody Johnson. But I want to see this team win. I want to see Aaron Glenn be successful in this league. I want to see Robert Saleh be successful with the Jets. In my lifetime, I've never seen the New York Jets go out there and be a Super Bowl contender. Generally, for me speaking. I've never seen this franchise go out there and be a Super Bowl contender on a year-in and year-out basis. But they have a Super Bowl caliber defense with the pieces that they have. And going back into the defensive conversation, C.J. Mosley, I think it's time to move on. C.J. Mosley dealt with a lot of injuries this year. He's not the same player that he was with the Baltimore Ravens. In the first couple of years with the New York Jets, he was still a very good linebacker. He's getting older. Those injuries are starting to stack up. I think it's time to move off of him. I look at Jermaine Johnson. He missed majority of this season. He was on IR, dealing with a serious injury. But he's a top pass rusher with the Jets. You have Will McDonald. You have Quinn Williams. Hassan Reddick, get rid of him. Hassan Reddick was a complete bust this year. Now, I have a lot of negative things to say about Woody Johnson in this video. Hassan Reddick is a definition of being stupid. They went out there and they traded for Hassan Reddick, which was a bad move for Joe Douglas. They tried to go out there and they tried to pay him before the season started. But Hassan Reddick wanted more money. So he fired his agent midway of the season to bring in a brand new agent to just go out there and accept a couple more $1 million that then they offered in the preseason. So you missed training camp. You missed OTAs. And there was a lot of reports that were saying that he was frustrated with his role with the New York Jets. He should take a prove-it deal this offseason. Not with the Jets, with a different team. He cost himself a lot of money by making that dumb decision to not come in and train in the offseason with the Jets because he was not ready to play for an entire season. He didn't even play the entire season. He was a non-factor this year on the defensive side of the ball. And this is a man that's in the past that has had over double-digit sacks in his career. But they need to continue to build this offensive line, bring back Aaron Rodgers for one more season. If you can find a better quarterback, go out there and do it. If you can find a better, younger option, go out there and please do it. It's not me advocating to saying that Aaron Rodgers is going to be a franchise quarterback with the Jets. I don't believe so. But when I look at the Jets, you're cornering the situation right now, who else are you going to bring in? That Sam Darnold conversation, I can see another team going out there and offering him a lot of money. Another team in New York. And I'm not talking about the Jets, I'm talking about the Giants here. And you don't want to get into a bidding war with the Giants and you try to go out there and you're trying to pay Sam Darnold $45 million a year. If that's the case, you just stick with Aaron Rodgers. And then hopefully you can have your quarterback of the future come in within the next few years. But you have talent. You have Devontae Adams. You have Garrett Wilson. You can use those guys as trade pieces. And I'm talking about Devontae Adams here. You could trade him for a 4th or a 5th round pick if the season at the halfway point isn't up to your liking. But regardless of who your quarterback is, you need to build that line. And you have Elijah Vera Tucker at the guard position. There's still some potential there, but his first 2 seasons of his career was cut short due to injuries, and he doesn't look like the same player that he was at USC. I'm worried about that. But you would think A team that has all these weapons, Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, he looked good at the beginning portion of the season. Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers, Sauce Gardner. You would think with all those names, they for sure would at least win a playoff game or two. They didn't even come close to the playoffs. They won one more game than the New England Patriots this year. That's how bad the Jets fell from grace this year, from the preseason hype all the way down. And we can blame the coaching, and they played a huge factor. But I blame Woody Johnson here. If he's gonna go out there and continue to be in the way over and over again, they will never have success as a franchise. But if he's gonna step away and let other executives step in and help out Aaron Glenn and this coaching staff, the future could be bright. But let me know in the comment section below how you guys feel about the hire of Aaron Glenn, and does it matter because of Woody Johnson? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, I want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless. Peace.